introduction. We will start with a brief introduction of circularity and CiCEL, and then we will listen to a keynote by Eduard Wagner, senior researcher and project manager at Fraunhofer IZM, and he will give us an introduction to the concept of digital product passports. We're really excited to have wonderful guests with us today. Claire Egan, Christian Adler, and Ricky Thiermer are here, and we will discuss together with them the opportunities for the electronics industry and use cases for electronic products. Afterwards, we have some time planned in for a joint discussion and a Q&A session before we wrap up, hopefully very punctually at 2 p.m. Next slide. Your Circularity hosts for today are Paul Württemberg, co-founder of Circularity, Cornelia Glitz, myself, and Vera Meinert as tech host.
Okay.
Next one.
Yes, for those of you who don't know Circularity, just 2 sentences about ourselves. Circularity is the innovative do tank for the circular economy in Germany. So we work with practitioners from the industry across different industries, different sectors, to connect the relevant actors to develop and implement tangible solutions for the circular economy. And we do this in a wide range of different formats, from evening events, site visits, conferences, large industry consortia projects in specific value chains. And you can see all of our nice partners some of our nice partners from the last couple of years. We started in 2018 on this slide, and also work bilaterally with some of them on implementation programs.
So this webinar today is part of CiCEL. CiCEL stands for Circular Consumer Electronics and is our strategic program for the consumer electronics industry. Together with stakeholders along the whole value chain, we are shaping the circular transition. CiCEL was kicked off and launched already back in 2022, and we have been working together with quite a few well-known partners and active collaborators. So we are running the program for the second time together with our program partners Infineon, Otto, Rebuy, New Ventures, and Remondis. Next one. CiCEL 2.0 is focusing on 2 topic pillars that we have identified high impact potential for through industry collaboration. So the first topic pillar that we are focusing on is repair at scale, and it's all about how we can bring repair to the masses and expand. And the second topic pillar is recycling and resource recovery. And we focus on the collection of and reverse logistics of non-use devices, as well as on the recovery of raw materials. The program comprises 3 program phases, and in the first program phase, for each topic, we organize online events and site visits for building deep knowledge and facilitate collaborative learning experiences. On this slide, you can see an overview of selected event topics for both program pillars. Next one. So phase 2 is really the heart of the program, and we organize and conduct a 2-day practitioner workshop, each per topic, where we work on concrete challenges and forge partnerships for projects that we are going to implement. The program phase 2 is right followed up by program phase 3, where it's all about the implementation of the projects. And this phase will be facilitated over a time period of 4 months by Circularity. And now, with no further ado, let's jump into today's topic. And if you want to learn more about CiCEL 2.0 and if you're interested to join the program, please fill the form that is now going to be shared in the Slack channel, and or you also can have access to more information scanning this QR code. And now let's jump right into today's topic and start with the keynote.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Clara. And I'm very happy to welcome now Eduard Wagner on our virtual stage. Eduard Wagner is an industrial engineer, and he's a senior researcher, project manager, and vice group leader of the Sustainable Networks and Computing Group at the Fraunhofer IZM in Berlin. And he's an expert for environmental assessments in general, but also specifically in the context of electronics, eco-design, and recycling. And what he's here for today, because he's highly involved for a long time now already in the topic of the digital product passport and the potential of circular data in various projects, also as a consultant for industry partners. And he's leading a working group package as part of the EU consortium project CIRPAS, now already also CIRPAS 2.0, and focusing on the impact assessment of the DPP. And I'm pretty sure we'll also hear a bit about this project in a bit, because he will tell us now everything we need to know about the DPP in order to keep up with this topic gaining a lot of momentum lately. And Eduard will share a bit of light on the regulatory framework, as well as share some technical considerations, and then leading over to the main topic, also for our panel discussion later, focusing on business case potential, so that we are all able to follow up in the exciting discussion. And just like one brief housekeeping rule, please put your questions and comments, whatever you have to say about the topic, in the chat, and then we will keep it up and also include it later. And now, handing over to you, Eduard. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation and the possibility to speak here, actually. I am sharing now, and it should come up. Do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so again, my name is Eduard Wagner. I'm working at the Fraunhofer IZM in Berlin. And today we will just setting the scene with the digital product passport. It's really a 15-minute introduction with all the basics that you need to know for the discussion and also to understand the DPP and the current status. So I think here, this is our institute. I think what is important, we are working a lot projects towards the
Circularity
digital product passport. But also we are currently involved in the development of the preparatory studies. That means these are the studies, the scientific studies that are the base to the delegated acts. Right now we are doing the work for dishwashers and washing machines, and others are also upcoming, for example, printers. We also do battery recycling, recycling, LCAs, product circularity assessment, and twice a year we have a legal update, just to give you like a little flavor of what we do. Cornelia already mentioned CIRPAS 1 and 2. I think these are quite important to understand and to have on the radar, because CIRPAS 1 was basically the accompanying project with the legislation, with the ESPR. And yeah, there basically you see it here, we developed the concept. It was very basic, and this is also important to understand. You see here, CIRPAS 1 ended in March 2024. And after this, you can basically say the concept phase was done. The concepts are there, standardization request has been done. And now we are in CIRPAS 2, and this is really going into the demonstration. So we now roughly know what's coming up, at least concept-wise. And now for different cases, product groups, we are testing different use cases. You see also here, just to mention it quickly, it's 36 months, so it's 3 years. It's really a demonstration project, and we have 50 partners that are active and over 1,000 partners in our network. Here, just to give you a brief flavor of the product groups, you see here, we are working mainly with textile demonstrators, and we have in total 13, I think, yeah, and also electronic products. So this is really the focus. But we also have tires. Michelin is there because they already have a DPP, and this is a very good showcase, and also construction products. Here to the right, some examples how you could imagine it. So now I want to set also the scene with the basic understanding of the principle. And I always like to use the energy efficiency label that you probably all know from your washing machine, or when you buy products. Lamps also have them, for example, and they're quite common and also successful. And what is interesting here, you see the three basic pillars. One, we have some technical requirements. You see here the QR code, but also information, of course. So we have here the washing cycles, the capacity, and the energy efficiency index, but also the legal framework around and the standards. So these are just the three pillars. I think this is important because also the projects are kind of built around these three pillars. Now, if you scan the QR code, you see here, this is an energy efficiency label, it's existing, and then you get this product information sheet. And I think it's an interesting example because you can maybe also imagine the product passport being something like that. Probably it will be more visual. There won't be like a PDF, but something more dynamic like an app. So, and which information are now included? You just saw the energy efficiency, the product information sheet from the energy efficiency regulation. And here with the DPP, we have a lot of new requirements. And you see here behind all these product requirements, there might also be the related information that will be required in the DPP. And you see here, it's going from basically all the R strategies, durability, reliability, and so on. What is in major discussion right now are the presences of substance of concern. So there will be some information on the materials that need to be declared, which ones will be defined in each delegated act. So that means for each product group individually. Here, just for your overview, I think you see it, probably also saw it already. So, of course, not all the products will have all these information requirements, but it will be then decided individually per product group which of these requirements are most relevant. Now, let's jump a bit back actually to the political background. We came from the Green Deal. There it was mentioned the first time. You see here, just in a very short outline, that there will be the requirements on the disclosure of information within a digital product passport, such as electronic and textiles. So it's very, very brief, and we came a long way to today. The ESPR was adopted. And parallel, we have also the battery regulation. This is important because the battery sets also very specific requirements that we can learn from, and where the first requirements will also come into force. I don't go too much now here into the details. I think what's new, we are not focusing electronics anymore, like the old Ecodesign Directive. And the old Ecodesign Directive was focusing on electronics. Now the scope got bigger. We have textiles, we have furnitures, and so on. And of course, the digital product passport is also a new requirement. So how can we now understand the DPP? And therefore, we need to jump into the objectives and the goals. So why do we actually want the DPP? So this is kind of the opportunities, but also the goals. And you see here, basically from left to right, the value chain stakeholders, starting here with material producers over manufacturers, consumers, and recycling. And you see here in the middle, this is supposed to be a DPP. So that means the product manufacturer has to gather the information from his suppliers, like manually or automated. And then with the DPP, all the downstream actors can access it. Also, of course, the market surveillance. And here also skip April, these databases will be kind of connected, maybe not at the beginning, but this is the vision. So now let's look into the goals. So what is the DPP actually supposed to do? At the beginning, and you see here, these goals are stretching along the value chain. So at the beginning here, first, it should support sustainable production. And here you see in italic with material and composition and origin information and also the environmental impact. The market surveillance should be supported in their tasks. What is very important is the goal of sustainable purchasing. So we as consumers should get harmonized and comparable information across product groups that we really compare, for example, the durability. But also the user should be empowered. That means we should gain information on how to properly use, maintain, update, and repair our products. And in the end, you see, like this is a quite generic goal, the recycling and the circularity at the end of the life of the lifetime of products should be improved. And here you see information on substances that hinder circularity or substances of concern will be provided to the recyclers. Yes, and you see it here. These are goals that are envisioned, but during the development within CIRPAS and in a discussion with the Commission, we found another goal that was important and that is highlighted more and more and very prominent now. This is to enable circular business models. And this is really the opportunity that companies, manufacturers have. You can go directly in communication with the consumer. There is a communication channel basically, and the DPP now does not only provide mandatory data, but you also have the opportunity to provide additional optional data that might be useful to enable circular business models or generic business models. But this also comes, of course, with some technical challenges, I would say. If you want, for example, really to address each individual consumer, you of course need to identify each individual product itself. So that means item level. What is, for example, important? These are usage information. So it is possible basically to collect information from the use cycle, for example, of a washing machine. Then, of course, the washing machine has to be connected somehow or count the washing cycles. The same applies also with other product groups. Or also what could be an option or opportunity are service offers for maintenance, repair, add-ons, and so on. And you also see here indicated the information flow does not only go downstream, but also back again. So it is possible to collect information, as already mentioned, from the consumer, from the repair, and from the recycling. Now, we talked about information and the goals. What is also important is the second pillar. I already showed it to you, or the first pillar here. This is the QR code, but there are more modules behind. And this is what is also important to understand. The DPP will be based on these 8 modules. These are very central, and for all these modules, there will be harmonized standards released end of 25. So end of next year, these standards will be available. And you see here, unique identifiers, so really a unique number where we can identify each product or product group or product model, data carrier, QR code, RFID, interoperability, access rights management. You see it here. These are all these technical requirements, I would say, to build a DPP that is in compliance with the EU DPP. Yeah, I think you see it here. This is just a technical background to give you the full picture from the DPP. Now, the relevant product groups, these are defined in the ESPR working plan. There is already an updated version. So you see it here. We have a lot of new product groups, and we have also intermediate product, iron and steel, aluminium, and so on. We have textiles, which is already running. And what is important, of course, I think, especially in this round, energy-related products. And here we have these 2 blocks, and you see all these product groups that will be regulated or for which will be a delegated act developed and adopted in the upcoming years. And you see here, just to mention it, these are envisioned to work with the full ESPR requirements for working plan, and the other ones are still working in the traditional regime. That means the Ecodesign Directive. Yeah, and as I already mentioned it, we are currently working for the requirements on household dishwasher, washing machine, and the same for professional dishwasher and laundry appliances or washing machines. Now looking into the implementation roadmap. So what is coming up? Yeah, we are basically 24. The standardization request has been done. It will be, the standards will be available end of 25. And yeah, you see 25 Q2, so quarter 2. There will probably coming the ESPR working plan. Then in 26, the standards will be released. Then the first DPP enters into force. That will be for batteries in 27. And mid-27, there will be the delegated act coming into force for textiles, iron and steel. I want now to briefly mention how the entire process and the duration is to be understood. So you see here, in 2023, the preparatory study for textiles started. Then usually these studies are going roughly 2.5 years, can also be 3 years. That means after 2.5 years, then there will be this delegated act adopted. Now, like textiles, iron and steel are already ongoing. After that is adopted, there is a transition time of 18 months when the requirements will enter into force. So you see, like mid of 27, the first requirements will enter into force. And this is it on the DPP presentation. That was on our conference. We have it all 4 years. We also had now a big session on the DPP, and I think this is also quite nicely to see more and more conferences have dedicated sessions, and there you also see the work that is done. It is on the radar, not only of the conferences and industry, but also across international partners and industries.
All right. Thank you so much for your presentation. I think we have a few minutes for some clarifying questions we already saw in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for posting them. And we would like to start with one which has been posed. I would like to know how the producer is defined, because I think there are many responsibilities put on the producer, but who is exactly going to be responsible? Maybe you can quickly give some insight on that.
Yes, so basically it's not even the producer that will be required to put the DPP up. It will be the one who will put the product on the market. That means a producer can basically produce it, but then like a retailer will put it on the market. So the retailer then is in charge to put the DPP on the product. So that really depends who is putting the product on the market. But usually we expect that the producer will already provide the DPP.
Perfect. And then I will pick two other very brief questions. First, on the social aspect, there have been already also a +1. Why is the social impact crossed out in the use case map you showed? And then also second one, more focusing on the technical side. How is the data architecture planned, like in a central versus decentralized way? Maybe you can also just mention one more key point about the plan architecture.
Yeah, good spotted, well spotted. It is crossed out because it was explicitly taken out from the commissioners. So they were saying we are not focusing social aspects in the ESPR. That is handled in the due diligence legislation that is on company level. That is there, but it can be that the ESPR or the DPP will show some information that could be related to social aspects. But this is right now not in the scope. We are personally working also in the development of the preparatory studies, and we are also not looking into the social aspects, only environmental aspects. The second question, yes, it is imagined as a decentralized, or it was initially started as a decentralized idea, let's say. So companies will still save the information, store the information on their own server or with the third-party provider that handles the data storage for them. But now we have also the registry. We was introduced to store important information for the market surveillance, also long-term. And we have now also the portal. So there will be a web portal. Maybe it can look a bit like April, and this is there to enable search functionality. Search functionality is apparently not possible with a decentralized system because of the indexing, the ones who are familiar. So therefore, there will be kind of a web portal with the products to compare, to search and to compare several aspects.
All right. Thanks a lot. Then I would say we take the other questions also over to our panel discussion. And of course, you're also welcome to get into the discussion later on. And therefore, I will ask Vera to share again